Dr. Hovind, I love your doctoral thesis. I've torn it to pieces with house and gaffle. I can't remember when I last pissed myself laughing. It's a good thing the thesis mopped the piss off the floor.
Welcome to part 69 of this read-through and peer review of Kent Hovind's doctoral dissertation, which was published on wikileaks.org on December 9th, 2009. If you have not yet seen any of the previous parts in this series, then I recommend that you go back and see those first. As in this episode, I will start off exactly where I finished off in the last. In the last episode, Kent told us all about the moon, specifically how there was no alternative explanation that would yield an evolutionary age of 4 billion years for the age of the moon. Of course, I contend that all depends on which explanations you accept, and which evidence you're going to consider. Of course, if you're like Kent and only accept that written in the Bible and whatever's put out by the Institute for Creation Research, then Kent's quite correct. There is no tenable evidence. However, if you're going to go with the evidence that's self-evident in reality, then there is. Anyhow, Kent continues. Here is a simple solution, as science can provide, that the moon is not as old as scientists claim. This is a very serious problem. Many physicists that believe in evolution understand the problem. For instance, Dr. Louis Slater, professor of geophysicist at Massachusetts Institute for Technology, said, "The timescale of the Earth-Moon problem still presents a major problem." Well, it doesn't present a major problem for me. No, Kent. That's because you're a fuckwit. Your answer to the problem is that God did it. It says it in the Bible, and the Bible is true because the Bible says it is. That answer is, of course, as wrong now as it always has been, just as it is as stifling to scientific inquiry as it always has been. Yeah. I think you'll find that you've spelt Dr. Louis Slitcher's name wrong. Slitter, Kent? He sounds like Freddy Krueger with a name like that. Secondly, his paper was written in 1963, 27 years before you wrote your doctoral dissertation. Thirdly, the mathematical calculations that he used were rather crude. It's no fault of his. The data back then was rather scarce, and not much inquiry had been made into the area that he's actually addressing. This presumably is why Thomas G. Barnes quote-mined him, and presumably why the Institute for Creation Research used Barnes' paper in their technical bulletin. And I think I addressed in the last episode that you really should read things from places other than the Institute of Creation Research and the Bible. But anyhow, what is notable is that you haven't mentioned any of the work that has been done since the 1963 paper, which is indeed considerable and does quite well address the question at hand, giving a solution that I mentioned earlier. But I'll let you continue. The moon is receding and does not indicate a great age for the Earth. Yes, it does, Kent, because you've got your figures wrong. The age of the whole solar system is a real problem to the evolutionists. No, it isn't, Kent, because we've got very good data that it is billions of years old. Lord Kelvin used the changing spin rate of the Earth and, with his mathematics, proved that because of the changing spin, the Earth could not be billions of years old. He said that the Earth had to be down in the range of 1,000 of years. Yes, Kent. Kelvin was a scientist from the era of Charles Darwin. and he made several serious mistakes in his calculations. He based his age of the Earth off thermal cooling, contending that at some point the planet Earth was a molten ball, and that over time it has cooled down to its present temperature. The problem was that he considered the Earth to be a good thermal conductor, which it isn't. He also didn't factor in radioactive elements within the Earth, the decay of which produces a large quantity of heat, thus significantly slowing the cooling of the Earth and, therefore, extending its age back from round about 100 to 200 million years, as he proposed, to about 4 to 4.5 billion years. Yes, Kent. Lord Kelvin has been thoroughly refuted in this matter, as many of the credible sources that you've cited so far. There are many Christians who try to pacify the evolutionists. No, Kent. I think, as I've pointed out before, these people simply try and reconcile their mumbo-jumbo from an old dusty book with the observable, verifiable facts that they see around them. They're kind of trying to make bullshit fit with reality. But continue. They came up with several different alternatives. One was the day-age theory. This said that the days mentioned in Genesis are really periods of time, or evolutionary ages. Yes, Kent, and we've dismissed it as bullshit. This is where many of the modern translations of the Bible go bad, because they change slight little phrases in Genesis 1. Yeah, like that book's not been edited to hell and back. Get out different translations and compare how they treat Genesis 1. The King James Version says it was the first day. It uses the definite article the. Many other versions of the Bible use the article a. They will say that this was a first day and a second day. That little subtle change is just an attempt to allow for the day-age theory. Good grief, you bullshit artists can't even decide how high your bullshit's stacked. And even if it's stacked correctly, how on earth can you possibly expect us to take you seriously? You're not exactly arguing over facts, you're arguing over spellings and semantics. But whatever, carry on, let's get this done. And besides, we're getting to one of your more humorous typographical errors. Kent Taylor's Living Bible, I don't the garbage heap want to be too negative because there are many good things about it. In Genesis has an attempt to pacify the evolutionist by trying to include billions of years into the Bible framework. Yes, Kent, and I challenge anybody to read that sentence and try and keep a straight face. What happened there, Kent? Did Miss Kim Van Gumby accidentally transcribe that from your handwritten scrawl? How exactly can you not be particularly negative about something when you dump the word garbage heap in the middle of the sentence? Was that a sudden Freudian slip, or maybe a sudden attack of Tourette syndrome? Or are you going to attribute that to God and Jesus, working in mysterious ways? Maybe it had occurred to you that, having read so far into your mantle of offal, the reader probably wasn't paying much attention anymore. And you thought that maybe if you throw in a gaffe like that, then it might just pick up our attention once more. Maybe the proofreader put it in there, and you just didn't pick up on the hint.